Hello, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm your Achilles tendon, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another week of Bloodhaus. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm good. I don't know. I felt like I had a run there where I was like getting sick and I stopped
Oh, God.
exercising and I was just like kind of getting into a rut. So I've sort of picked myself back up. I've dusted myself off, trying to get back into fitness and eating healthy. I'm very open with the fact that I have a mental illness and I'm medicated for it and I'm going to therapy, but I forget that I have to do all that other stuff too, which is like really hard to maintain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get in that kind of rut too. This entire week, people have been working on my building and repainting the exterior. So there's like giant plastic sheets over all of my windows all week long. So I've had no sunlight for about like 5 days. And I'm been like losing my mind and feel like cabin fever is beyond setting in. And the moment I
Yeah.
like finally like went outside and took a walk and like went to
Yeah.
get lunch and like go to the gym again and like drink some water, I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I just like actually need
Yeah.
vitamin D in my life.
I'm also open about the fact that I'm a recovering alcoholic. And one of the things that people say in AA sometimes is like there's this metaphor of having a stovetop full of boiling pots, but only one lid. So you're
Yeah.
constantly shuffling that one lid around trying to cover up everything. And so if you're not drinking, it could be something else. Like it could be shopping, or it could be sex, or it could be, exercise. Anything I don't know. It's just like you have all of these troublesome behaviors or thoughts or patterns, and you're trying to like manage them all at once, which is really difficult to do. So
Yeah, it's like what's the least bad thing I do that I can allow myself to do right now?
yeah, it's like when
Like
people give up coffee, I'm like, why? I will never give up coffee. I've had to give up so many things in my life. My life has been a constant struggle to shed harmful behaviors and thoughts and patterns. And it's like, you can take that from my corpse. Until a doctor tells me I have to quit coffee for some like really serious reason, I'm letting myself have as much coffee as I like.
I'm just thankful I don't drink coffee. I
It's
like
hard to quit, I
I
bet.
yeah.
I bet. I don't know. I've never quit it. I've never tried.
I did discover recently that I have a lot lower tolerance for caffeine than I used to. When I was like a fucking teenager, I could run around like the suburbs of Indiana pounding fucking like Red Bull and Monster and riding a fucking
Mhm.
skateboard everywhere and fucking like thing going on the fucking like tiny little stage in someone's basement and playing bass and like have a whole fucking thing. And now if I like go to Taco Bell for lunch and get a fucking Mountain Dew Baja Blast by like 4 o'clock after having just like a little bit of the drink, I'm like, oh, I'm jittery. I
Yeah.
don't feel good. Oh, I can't focus on work. Oh, this is bad.
I started drinking coffee in college in order to replace my Mountain Dew addiction. Like a fucking
That'll do
hillbilly,
it.
I was addicted to Mountain Dew. So coffee's healthier than that.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's full of sugar, so it literally rots your teeth, and it has more caffeine than coffee does. It'll give you diabetes.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but now that I'm old, talk about food. Like if I eat a greasy dinner, I'll wake up at 3 a.m. with a really bad stomach ache and
Yeah.
literally throw up.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It sucks.
We should just be healthier for ourselves, but the country we live in, it's
It's
harder
so
to do
hard.
that. It's like
Yeah.
financially harder to do that. It's like
Yeah.
so much easier and quick based on like the way capitalism structures our work and our jobs and our lives. You're not expected to have a lot of time to eat food, so you're expected to eat a quick meal. And
Yep.
you're expected to only be able to afford a cheap meal, and that is all quick, greasy, bad food for you.
Totally.
Anyway, so this is Commie Talk.
Yeah, I was gonna say, welcome to Come Town, the Dirtbag Left podcast. Have you been watching anything cool?
I've been watching so many movies lately. I don't know what it is about the past like week or so, but I've been doing like 2 movies a day.
Oh, great.
I like don't know what has tossed me into this deep end, but it just feels so invigorating and great. And almost everything I've watched, I really, 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 really loved. But the one I really want to share is a movie that I watched because you told me to, and it's one that I
Mm.
bought sight unseen because you told me to, and it's one that I was like kind of sat on my shelf for a little while because I was like, I don't know, Josh really likes it. Okay, my friend Jose really likes it, and okay, this person really okay, fine, all right, I'll just put it on. And it's the 1980 teen coming of age comedy Little Darlings with Christy
Oh, I love
McNichol.
it. I
And
love it so much. Tatum
yeah,
O'Neal.
Tatum O'Neal. Fuck, I love Paper Moon and the original Bad News Bears so much.
Love Paper Moon.
Love Tatum O'Neal is so fucking talented. And so when
Yeah.
I finally popped on Little Darlings, I was also surprised to see that baby Cynthia Nixon is there.
10-year-old Cynthia Nixon is the little hippie girl. Matt Dillon, fresh out of Over the Edge.
Mhm. The soundtrack is incredible. We get
Yeah.
like Blondie tracks and stuff. The like Kristen McNichol is so good as like the
She's
tough girl,
so
not the mean girl.
good.
There's a different character
Tough
who's kind of
girl.
the mean girl, but she's
Yeah.
the tough girl from the tracks. And I was not expecting to see Tatum O'Neal playing like the rich girl with an occasional like like transatlantic accent and like
Yeah.
riding around in a Rolls Royce on her way to camp and stuff like that.
Christy McNichol is better in that movie than she has any right to be. Like the scene where
She's
she finally
crazy good in
loses her virginity, spoiler alert, is so sad. The boy is like, "How do you feel?" And she says, "I feel lonesome." And that just like really cuts to the heart of like losing your virginity in a way that you don't really want to, you know? And
Yeah.
it's just such a great movie.
Really love the relationships in this movie because the two of them, I mean, the marketing all kind of posits the two of them as like best friends and this can be a friend adventure movie, but it's not that for the majority of the film. It's a competition between the two, and they're
enemies.
they're enemies and rivals, but they do develop and grow a friendship over the course of the movie that's really believable and natural and lovely. And the relationships between all of the girls is really, really, really natural and believable and beautiful. And the like Christy McNichol's relationship with her single mother is really, really touching and beautiful to me too, and felt really, really close to home for me. I really, really, really loved it. I feel like I wish I'd seen it as a kid. I
Me
wish
too.
I'd
I didn't
grown
see it
up
until
on it.
college, actually. Yeah, I wish I'd grown up on it too. It's a really frank, honest movie about sex and virginity in a way
But it's
that I don't
still
think you could get
fun
made anymore.
and tender and like
It's fun. It's
definitely
innocent
for
enough.
kids.
Yeah, it's a PG movie. It's so good and smart and kind and thoughtful, and I think it's like the kind of movie that young women, especially, you know, like girls, really could use and never get, really.
Mhm.
You know, it's like so rare to get a movie like this. And it was lost for such a long time because of music rights. It's just like for decades it was lost.
I'm so glad it's back. It's so odd to me. After watching it, I looked up the filmmaking team behind it, and I was like, "This." It's like I think like the directorial debut or one of the earliest films from the director Ron Maxwell. And I was like, "What else did he do after this?" Because he's got such a light touch, and he's so good with like kids, and he's so good with like female stories, and like this is so funny and light. Oh, he has since done multiple 3 to 4 hour long movies about the Civil War. He made Gettysburg and Gods and Generals.
That's so funny.
Which my girlfriend frequently refers to the worst movie she's ever seen as Gods and Generals. That a friend like took her to see in theaters when it came out and was like, "I fucking like, there's nothing I could hate more." And I'm like, "Well, he made a good teen movie in the 80s."
Maybe it's just like a money job for him, this movie.
Yeah, his true passion is the Civil War.
Clearly. Yeah, I love this movie.
But I saw another really fun, beautiful, touching comedy recently. I saw it in theaters. I think it's out of theaters now by the time of recording, but it is widely available everywhere on Netflix. And it's the new Richard Linklater movie, Hitman.
Oh, yeah. I'm curious about this.
It's Josh. It's really good. It's written by Richard Linklater and Glenn Powell. Mm-hmm. And Glenn Powell stars. Glenn Powell, of course, that listeners of this show will know from Scream Queens as Chad
huge
Radwell.
Star right now.
He's huge right now. I mean, Anyone But You, Top Gun, all that stuff.
Yep.
And he plays a college professor who moonlights as like a technician for the New Orleans police helping in like sting operations who like inadvertently has to become a fake hitman to like catch people that are trying to hire people to kill their spouses and stuff like that. And so he gets this like super like meaty, juicy role that is clearly built entirely for an actor and written by an actor, of getting to play all these different little personas, playing all these different like fake hitmen, and it's so goofy and so fun. And then it evolves into this kind of like film noir screwball relationship where he falls for a woman that's trying to have her husband killed. And it's really, really, really well written. It is so delightful. I saw an interview with him after the fact, Glenn Powell, talking about how the screenplay for Tootsie was a big influence on this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
My feelings on Tootsie from a gender perspective aside, Tootsie is like, the screenplay is taught like
it's always in those
religiously.
Screenplay books from like the 80s and 90s. It's always Tootsie.
Every screenplay like class in college I've ever taken always leans on Tootsie really, really, really hard, because what it does structurally and with its characters is really well done. And that's, of course, a script that was like worked and doctored for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And this being something that leans on that kind of writing, but just with the actor and director collaborating on the screenplay, is so much better than that. And I genuinely, there's a scene involving a phone in this movie between our two main leads that I genuinely think is going to be taught in both screenwriting classes and acting classes for the next 2 decades.
Wow.
That like every acting student you know in college is going to be doing the phone scene from Hitman for the next like 15, 20 years in their college class. They're going to be auditioning with that for so long.
Whoa.
It's so well done. It's so funny. It's so romantic. And it like plays with like film genre tropes in such a fun and like effortless way. It feels like the kind of like high concept rom-com movie we haven't gotten since like the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah.
And if like fucking like Richard Linklater's the best. Obviously like the Before trilogy and Boyhood.
Yeah, I was
going to
ask you where you were with Richard Linklater. I couldn't guess.
I'm a big fan. I like
Okay.
Boyhood came out when I was going into college. I'm the same age as Eller Coltrane. So his life and my life paralleled in that movie. So that movie is very, very like touching to me. Yeah. And my mom kind of looks like Patricia Arquette and has the same name as Patricia Arquette.
Same name.
Yeah, right. So like watching it with her around the time that I was actually going up to college was very emotional. I love that. But this is Linklater in like School of Rock mode, in Dazed and Confused mode, in
Great.
Like he's like in hit mode. He's like he's swinging for the fences and he hits every time. I think
that's great.
He and Soderbergh are like our best like populist auteurs who are able to like churn out little weird ones with their friends and then also like hit out the biggest blockbuster bangers you can find.
Yeah.
I loved Hitman. It's on Netflix. I don't know any reason why anyone wouldn't like just have a great time with it.
Do you know what movie I think should be in screenplay writing classes and books? And I mean this very sincerely. Sometimes people think I'm joking or being ironic, but I'm not. I think Clueless should be in screenplay and books. That is Clueless a great script.
It's a great script. It was very, very, very much taught in my directing course.
Was it? Oh, good. That makes me so happy. I've never studied it, but to me, it's like such a good example of voice, of narration, of a specific world that feels alive, but specific and contained. And I just think it's like such a banger of a screenplay.
When I went to film school, I obviously had a lot of different professors who leaned on different like periods and eras and like countries and different eras and styles of filmmaking. But my main directing professor that I worked with was a fucking like saint, and I love him so much. He and I had a lot in common. He was also from Indiana. He was also a scuba diver. He was queer. Like great guy. He gave me a lot of his VHS tapes when I was in college, which were like very, very coveted to me. But he kind of eschewed all of the classic directing examples or references. He didn't show us Orson Welles stuff. He didn't show us like the Francois Truffaut stuff. He didn't show us Hitchcock and stuff. He would like put on Married to the Mob and be like, let's talk about why we're shooting Alec Baldwin like head on here. Let's talk about the way that we're lighting this scene in Something Wild. Like he would lean on like Jonathan Demme or like Amy Heckerling movies he would like teach to like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and like
Yeah.
because these are, you know, 80s independent movies that were also like populist mainstream breakthroughs and are working off of the tools from all that stuff that he knows we've already been taught, and how they're being used in like a mainstream light and funny way that you can take the like tricks of Ozu and Orson Welles and put them in something like Married to the Mob, and that's how Jonathan Demme is able to make that stuff work.
Yeah. Well,
So
speaking of film school, I had a film school experience last week when I went to the theater to see In a Violent Nature, which a lot of my friends really liked and a lot of my friends really hated.
I heard about that. I want to see it.
I think it's really worth watching. I went alone because my partner had to grade and we had already had dinner. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just walk to the Grove and see a movie. And I knew that Joel didn't want to see that movie. I would say that I liked it but didn't love it. But I felt like I was kind of at film school in my head because the whole time it's very, you know, it's in quote unquote point of view. You're following the killer. Basically, the movie, I'm sure you know from the trailer, is like watching Friday the 13th Part 6, but you're following Jason through the woods the whole time. So there's like no score. There's a lot of mundane, slow moving scenes where you're just like moving through a forest behind this killer. You get snatches of insipid dialogue from the teenagers that are campers, but only through his point of view. So you're only tangentially following their story. And it's very, very violent. I thought it was a cool experiment, but I kept asking myself, like, what is this filmmaker? How is this movie commenting on the slasher? Mm-hmm. And at times I thought it was criticizing slashers. At times I thought it was satirizing them. At times I thought it was just celebrating them. This is clearly a person who's watched a ton of them. So it was, and at the end, I don't know. I don't know if they meant to comment on it at all. It kind of seems like, oh, we'll just change the point of view and that's enough and see what happens. And I'm okay with that. I don't think that's not a criticism for me, but I just felt like I wish this had a stronger opinion of some sort, whatever it is. And I also have to say, much like Late Night with the Devil, it breaks its own rules a lot, which really
I was about to say,
me.
does it ever break the POV?
It does. Okay. And it's so frustrating because it's like, you chose to do this. Like, no one made you make this movie. If you're going to give yourself a rule, then stick to it. And to me, it's like a little bit of it's not a little bit, it's a lot of a cheat when people do that.
I'm very interested to see it. I'm probably going to try and see it this coming week.
It's really interesting. And the style of it, it's hard to like enjoy the way that you enjoy a cheesy slasher movie. The way that I quote unquote enjoyed it was by like in this sort of like cold, detached academic way was the way that I watched it. Cause it's hard to feel anything during the movie. And it also has a great cameo at the end by one of the actresses from Friday the 13th Part 2, one of my favorite slashers.
Oh my God.
Who hasn't acted in decades and just has like a pivotal scene at the final act of the movie. And so that was really fun.
I'm excited. I know people who deeply, deeply love slashers who love this movie and think it's brilliant, and some that fucking hate it and just really, really wish it didn't exist. A friend of mine who's a big, big, big 80s slasher fan loved it and says it has one of his favorite kills in all of movies.
I know exactly what they are talking about. It is an insane kill. It's really fun. And I love 80s slashers and I liked it. But again, I think it's like interesting more than it is good, I guess is what I would say.
I'm interested to see it because, as you know, and as I'm sure listeners know, I'm a lot more lukewarm on 80s slashers than you are. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that perspective works with this kind of movie. I think it might work out well for me. I love experimental films. I love an experimental take, like a new take on an old tried and true genre and method. So I'm excited to see it.
I kind of wish, and my friend got annoyed with me when I said this, but I was like, I kind of wish that this filmmaker like fucking hated slashers. And that was his take. You know what I mean? I think that would be really interesting to like try to make a genre movie of a genre that you don't like and that you want to criticize. I think that would have been more fun.
I've always liked that perspective on stuff because people always talk about like if you look at like the Mel Brooks movies and spoofs like that like Young Frankenstein is so successful because Gene Wilder clearly loves those old horror movies. Blazing Saddles is so successful because Mel Brooks clearly has like a vernacular and a love for the Old West. And he clearly has a love of Hitchcock movies and High Anxiety and stuff like that. But then by the time you get to Spaceballs, he clearly has no fucking idea what he's doing other than like the fucking like yogurt sounds like Yoda. Okay. And that movie is fun, but it doesn't have that same like love and respect that the other movies do. So I don't know. Maybe I should make a slasher movie.
Maybe you should. Well, anyway, we are here to talk about a different movie today. This was a first time watch for both of us, I believe, right? This was the first time you saw this?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a South Korean movie from 2010, directed by Kim Ji-woon. It is I Saw the Devil.
I saw the devil, and I opened up his thighs. I saw the devil.
That was my first CD, by the way, Ace of Base. It was the first CD I owned.
Cute.
Yeah. I also asked for Patti Smith CDs for Christmas and got Patti Smythe CDs instead, which is like an adult contemporary singer.
My mom confuses Patti Smith and Patti Smythe all the time.
So does mine.
And my mom's name is Patty, and she spells it like Patti Smith. She's always like, isn't Patti Smith married to that one famous guy? And I'm like, that's Patti Smythe.
That's Patti Smythe. Yes, that's the other one. I liked this movie. Okay. It has like a lot of 4 and 5 star reviews on Letterboxd. For me, it's like more of a 3-star movie. Mm-hmm. I think it's very well directed and very well acted. I think the writing for me is probably the tricky part. And I also think this movie should be 45 minutes shorter, which I have a take about how to cut it. But I don't know. What are your like headline thoughts?
I have been told to watch this movie for at least like 10, 15 years now. I remember when it came out and hearing about it being like super, super, super fucked up. And all the stills and marketing were very like mysterious and minimal. And it took me years and years and years to finally like get into Kim Ji-woon. Obviously, we talked about Tale of Two Sisters on this show,
which I love.
I'm a huge fan of as well. I did the artwork for the Arrow release. I'm a huge fan of his Western film, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. I also I have a soft spot for his one American film, The Last Stand, with Johnny Knoxville and Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a super like big gun, dumb American action like car fucking shoot 'em up movie. Mm-hmm. He's very eclectic. He's a very, very fun filmmaker. And like the takeaway that I got from watching those 3 movies is that like genre is his through line. He like approaches like a ghost story, like a little haunted house story. Then he'll approach like a spaghetti western and then like a big American 80s shoot 'em up action movie. And every single time he's going to dial them up to 11. And that's kind of his way of putting his stamp on it. And so I was like, okay, I'm excited to see more of his stuff. I Saw the Devil is one that everyone talks about. And I couldn't tell what it was going to be. People compared it to like police procedural movies and serial killer movies. And I was like, I don't love that kind of stuff as much. Like Silence of the, also not all that genre doesn't always translate into horror.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more just like a thriller and like cat and mouse kind of thing. But then every now and then you'll get Silence of the Lambs or Manhunter or something that like actually does move itself into the horror category. So going into this, I didn't know if this was even going to be appropriate to talk about for Bloodhaus. 5 minutes in, I was like, nope, yep. I see what we're doing here. This is very much a Bloodhaus movie. Got it. I thought that this movie was really, really, really great. And my big headline takeaway is that this movie takes 2 different kinds of movies that I normally don't really like that much.
Mm-hmm.
shoves them together, and I think makes them a lot more than the sum of their parts. So I occasionally I will like a police procedural to an extent, but I don't really care that much about Heat. I don't really care that much about stuff like that. It all feels very TV to me because there's,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously like Criminal Minds and CSI and all that stuff has like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
kind of done that to death. And I also don't give a fuck about like Saw and Hostel and all those like mid 2000s like
Yeah,
shock, gore fest, torture movies. And this kind of blends the two
it
in a
does.
really interesting way. And I thought it really, really, really worked for me. It never pushes the gore and the shock to a gratuitous place that lost me, but it did push it enough every single time that anything happened, I screamed more in this movie than almost anything we've ever watched for the show before.
I mean, it's a rough movie. It is up there with, Audition.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me some of those 2000s sort of torture movies. It's in there. It's in that ball field.
But it has purpose to it. And I know I've seen a lot of people comment on it. It's got a lot of 4.5, 5-star reviews. It's also got a lot of half-star reviews I've seen from like people I know that are all kind of like, the kind of like plot mechanics and character archetypes of this are very tried and true, and like, oh, we get it, like they're two sides of the same coin, blah 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 blah. I think it's that the script that it's based on, because it's looking at the credits from the movie, it very oddly like has a screenplay credit and then later has an adaptation credit to Kim Ji-woon.
Oh.
And it's not based on a book or anything. It's just a screenplay, and then he has an adaptation credit, not a story credit. So it seems like he took an existing screenplay and then
did a rewrite on it.
And it seems like it's taking a traditional kind of like Heat, like cop catches cat and mouse game, serial killer thing. And then he took his spin on it. And I think the experiential kind of like shoving your face in the dirt that he does with this movie makes it work.
Yeah, I mean, the movie's very well made, so I can't imagine giving it like a half star. I think that Kim Ji-woon is such an exceptional director. It looks incredible. The actors are so good in this. I guess I should just do a little plot synopsis, basically. Essentially, we have Kim Soo-hyun is an NIS agent, and his fiance is killed by a serial killer named Jang Kyung-chul, who is Old Boy, the actor from Old Boy.
Chow Min-sik?
Yeah, who's incredible in this. I mean, he's so evil and yet so charming. So he's an NIS agent. He has access to, files. Oh, also the girl that died, her father was a retired policeman. So between the two of them, they have access to all these police files. So our main character gets like 4 suspects and starts pursuing them to get revenge, eventually figures out who it is. And then instead of killing him, he just hurts him really bad and lets him go so he can keep chasing him.
It's catch and release.
Basically, catch and release. So basically these two are just like torturing each other. They let each other go and then they catch the other one and then they release them again. And it's just them like, it's just cat and mouse going in both directions until it kind of explodes. I don't know. Is that it? I mean,
it's more or less. But the way it does it is really, really fascinating to me. I should also say that the lead, our like agent who's kind of going rogue on this, is played by Lee Boing-hung, who is starred in a lot of Kim Ji-woon movies, including A Bittersweet Life, but mostly he's the bad in The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, and which he's one of the sexiest men I've ever seen on screen in that movie.
I was going to say, he's so hot in this. He's like so 40 years old in this movie.
He does not look it. He's I was, once you kind of like get into the rhythm of the setup of it, because he finds him really fast.
Yeah.
He tortures a lot of guys before he gets there.
Let me push back on that, because I think the main place that this needs to be cut is that he thinks it might be these. He tortures a number of people before he finds out who the real killer is. The way that he finds the real killer is a little bit arbitrary. And I'm like, just cut all of that. Like, just know who the killer is and get us on the ride. Like, don't wait to get on the ride. Put us on the ride. And it's like, you could cut
I
a half hour of the movie easily.
I personally like all that stuff. I think I've seen people be like, oh, the fact that he automatically has 3 to 4 suspects to jump from is already condensing it and cheating a little bit narratively just to get us there faster. And I saw some people be like, what? That's not realistic and that's crazy. I feel like if he automatically already had the guy, then you'd be like, well, why haven't the police got him?
I don't know. I mean, you could always come up with some device for that. But for me, it's like, I know who the killer is, so I don't need to watch all of this. And the way that you found out who the killer is really arbitrary. So, like, let's just do the movie. Like, let's get on the ride.
Yeah.
Like,
But I also think that it shows the level to which that he's prepared to go after these guys, because he doesn't know which ones may or may not be the killer, but he's still approaching them with a level of like viciousness that is not appropriate for at least one of these guys is innocent.
yeah.
The first guy he attacks is definitely not innocent. He's guilty of a different crime. But it's pretty fucked up. But it's also narratively the thing that gets the local police on him as well. So he's hunting this killer, and the police are hunting him because he's going around fucking assaulting these random people.
Right.
At first. But then on top of that thing that this movie does that I find really, really, really interesting, that movies, again, the criticism that like this is a very tried and true, like, oh, the killer and the cop, more quote unquote, like they blur the lines, and you always see that in the perspective of like the cop, like he's gonna surrender his badge and his gun, and he's gonna go unlawful, and he's gonna do all these things, he's gonna like go to dark places to get the guy, and like, doesn't that mean he's just as bad as him? And like, yes, it's doing all of that stuff, but what this movie does that I think is really interesting is that it humanizes the serial killer.
He's very charming.
He's very charming, despite the horror, like super fucking disgusting, awful things that he's doing to these women. Yeah. And you see a lot of it in really gross detail at the beginning. So that's like the first thing you know about him. Like pushing around a cart of limbs. But then because he's the one that's being pursued again and again and again, he feels like the underdog narratively.
Yeah, and it's very smart.
So you start to kind of be like, you start to kind of like quietly hope that he gets away, which is like the kind of narrative trick of movie making that you can only kind of get away with in a thing like this. And so when he kind of turns the tables near the end in a really gross way, I might add, like a really fucking gross way that made me question a lot about the way that South Korean plumbing works. Because their toilets are bizarre. At least the ones in this movie are bizarre. You start to kind of be like, oh, okay. And then you're like, wait a minute, he's the fucking murderer. He's friends with cannibals. What's going on?
I know. I'll tell you what I loved about this movie, actually, is I loved the opening scene. We have the young woman, the victim, who's in her car in the snow, and she has like a flat tire, or she's out of gas or something like that. She has to call a tow truck. She's on the phone to her fiance, who's our main character, and they have a really sweet conversation while she waits for the tow truck. And then a sweet old man shows up to give her some help, and she waves him away because she has a tow truck coming. And of course, that's the serial killer. And that is like the most traditionally horror scene. Like, it feels like, you know, the opening act of some old slasher movie.
There's a jump scare reveal in it that literally had me jump off my sofa at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
I loved that scene.
Yeah. There's a handful of like really, really, really beautiful, like artfully made, really upsetting sequences in this. There's also the sequence in which the serial killer who's being hunted decides to like shack up with his other serial killer friend,
who's a cannibal
who lives there with his girlfriend, who they like eat human flesh together.
Yeah.
It's super weird and fucked. And our, you know, agent, whatever, who's hunting him down has a tracking device on him. So he's able to follow him everywhere and find out where he is. And the sequence of him breaking into that house to get him back, you're so expected with the level of like preparation he puts into everything that everything goes very, very, very smoothly, and that's the first instance where things start to not go his way.
Yeah.
And it's such a nerve-wracking set piece. I will also say the finale of this movie is fucking
It's pretty balls to the wall.
rough. It's pretty balls to the wall, because the whole time you're like, they're torturing each other in these like myriad of different ways.
Yeah.
And also one of the things that happens is that like by quote unquote playing with your food, by doing this catch and release game with this killer, and he allows him to kill other people by being
Yeah.
out and about.
I
And
know. That's what I kept thinking about. It's like, you're doing such a disservice. Like, this guy's just killing people left and right because you want to get him.
And whenever he's like within vicinity and he's trying to kill someone, he'll like stop that and he'll like save the person and stuff like that. But like a lot of other people get fucking really killed, and like people close to him end up paying for this mistake as well. But by the end, you're like, okay, like one of them has to die at least. But I don't know how they're gonna do it to like up the ante from everything we've seen already, and it pays off a like device we saw at the beginning in a like very Saw like mousetrap kind of way with characters we haven't seen in a minute, and it's so
It's
it's
crazy.
so deeply fucked up. I also love the
I
taxi scene,
Oh yeah, that's
in
such
which
a
we get
oh
like
god.
a 360 shot within the car, which feels like a kind of fuck you to Children of Men of like, I can do
Yeah.
it too. Oh my god.
That scene is a nightmare. So he is like hitchhiking and he gets picked up by a taxi, but the taxi driver's like, "Oh, I'm taking this guy to his destination too. You don't mind, do you?" And so he ends up killing both of them, but the car is going out of control while he just stabs them both repeatedly from the passenger seat. And to me, that is so scary. I have nightmares on the regular that for some reason I have to control a car from the back seat, or the wheel doesn't work like the way a wheel is supposed to be. So that's like
Yeah.
literally a nightmare of mine, an anxiety dream that I have like once a week, that I'm in a situation like that.
There's so many things in this movie beyond the standard, like, oh, they're torturing each other, they're fighting each other, he's gonna cut his fucking tendon. Like, all of those things are gross and expected, and they are pushed to a level that you don't expect them to go, and that's great. But on top of that, they are mixed in with like, yeah, and he's just in a like runaway fucking car at the same time, or
Yeah.
like the only way to get the tracker out is also fucking disgusting, and
Oh god,
like
that's the arguably the grossest part in the
it is the
entire
grossest
movie.
part of
So
the whole movie.
once he realized that he swallowed a tracking device, he like decides to, of course, take a ton of laxatives and go shit in a gas station bathroom. And he like digs through his own feces to find the tracking device, and it's so vile.
And then after he does that, he like beats up a cop and shoves it down the cop's throat.
Yes, makes him
Still
eat
covered.
literally a shitty tracking device. Vile,
Oh,
disgusting.
oh.
I banish it. I bind it.
The other thing in this movie that made me just like absolutely peel my eyes away from the screen was at one point the cannibal is subdued, and our quote unquote lead, who is hunting the serial killer, is interrogating him for information, and the cannibal is laughing and not playing along, and so he decides to, again, he's like not killing our main whatever agent who's getting revenge, isn't explicitly killing anyone this whole time, but he's just wreaking severe bodily harm. So he decides to put both of his hands in this man's mouth and then stretch his jaw as far as he can, and you watch the like skin of his lips and his cheeks tear.
He's like, I'm going to give you a permanent smiley face. Like, ugh.
It reminds me of the scene from Peter Jackson's King Kong, which we get that with like a dinosaur, but that's all like CG shit. And it's like a dinosaur and a big monkey, but like
Yeah,
watching a guy do that to another human being is so like deeply fucked up. It also kind of feels like one upping Christopher Nolan being like, "Oh yeah, you talked about like all the ways the Joker like has these scars in fucking Dark Knight. Let me show you how this could happen to a human being in the
I
most
really
like
liked
disturbing way."
I really liked that cannibal scene because for me that was the moment when I was like, okay, we're going to a cannibal's house. And there's like a really great speech about how addictive human meat is from the cannibal. And it just feels like fantastical. And it was the moment in the movie it was like, okay, we're turning the volume up here and we're going
Yeah.
to a place that's a bit more stylized, making the movie less grounded, which for me makes it easier to take some of the extreme violence. So I actually really appreciated that stuff, as gross as it was, because it like kind of let me off the hook a little bit. It didn't feel as real to me. And so
Very much
I really liked that choice.
Kim Ji-woon is never is never grounded in reality.
No. Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of his appeal to me, is that he is a genre filmmaker first and foremost and is always pushing it to the end. So I feel like he's closer to like someone like George Miller, or in like a different context, Quentin Tarantino and stuff like that, who is like, or Takashi Miike, who's really kind of focused on less character and story than like archetypes and things like that. And I think it both lets the audience off the hook while also allowing to go a lot further.
Yeah, archetypes are good because they're shortcuts. And that's why I'm like, I always sort of am side-eye to people who talk about like the people that you were talking about earlier who are like, oh, we've seen this before, we know these tropes. It's like, yeah, of course, because first of all, we like them. People like these tropes. We like this formula. We're familiar with it. And because we're familiar with it, it's a shortcut. We're like, okay, I get all of this. So now we can do like weird or different things with the formula.
And I do think that this movie does comment on that formula and those tropes in a different way than I've seen before. I should also say, Takashi Miike has a new movie out called Lumberjack the Monster, which just came out on Netflix like as like a few days ago, I think, maybe even. And it's a similar setup to this. It's more or less like a psychopath who's hunting serial killers. So Dexter kind of set up, right?
Sure.
So there's like a guy going around killing, being a serial killer and killing other people. And so it's got a very similar dynamic of like the relationship between violence and like the growth of these characters and the degradation of these characters and things like that. And I had just watched that with Ivory very recently. So that was very, very fresh in my mind. And going from that, which felt, new and different and a different take on this, and then going to this, which takes a more traditional setup to it, but then like fucking blows that all to hell as it goes along. I found this a lot more impactful.
Yeah.
And a lot more interesting. And it's really, really hard to watch, but really, really, really moving because of that. We do get a lot of time at the beginning of this movie with the grief of the family.
Yeah.
Like, as much of the like gore and pain that we get, none of it's exploitative against the victims. It's almost all between like of the serial killer and of the man hunting him. So it feels cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, I liked all of that. I guess my thing is with the script, and my general feeling is like I would have removed a ton of stuff from the first half of the movie because I just feel like, hey, let's get on the ride and be on the ride. Like, what? Yeah. Don't delay. You know what I mean? That's my quibble, I guess.
Yeah, I personally, for what the runtime is, this is a long. I think this is one of the longer movies we talked about this on the show. It's not 3 hours or anything like that. It's like 2 and some change.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's by far not the longest movie ever, but it is longer than what we typically watch.
But
on here.
By the way, I love a long movie. If a movie needs to be 3 hours, I'm happy to sit there. I mean, I sat through Killers of the Flower Moon and it felt like 1 hour to me because it just needed to be that length, and it's such a good movie. I just don't actually think that this movie needs to be that long. That's my thing. It didn't feel like It kind of outwore its welcome for me and I think most of the problems for me are in the first half of the movie.
That's understandable. I was expecting when you were saying that you thought it could be shorter that it would be in the latter half of this movie, which I can understand for some audiences might feel repetitive because, and that was kind of my trepidation going into this movie, was that like it's a series of catches and releases. I was like, okay, how many different ways can you catch and release a serial killer that's still like compelling and interesting? But they do actually like more than get us there in the end. I don't think it ever gets repetitive. I do think the tables
Me neither.
consistently turn, and I do think in the same way that people talk about musicals from a narrative perspective is that every song should like push the characters' relationships further and stuff like that. Every new encounter between the two of them changes and changes the dynamic between them.
Yeah, I mean, the action director Rennie Harlin always said that. He said, you know, the action scenes in an action movie are like musical numbers in a musical. Every action set piece needs to move the characters' relationships forward in some way. And I think that's really smart and certainly applies here. I think my thing with the first half of the movie is, you know, I'm a writer, so I know firsthand that sometimes when you're writing something, you tend to overwrite Act 1 because you're figuring out the characters as you go along. And it's like, it's just a part of your process. And then you go back and trim it. But it's just like how you figure out the movie or the book or the play or whatever you're writing. That's how you figure it out, is by overwriting it for a period. And then usually you go back and trim it if you're smart. But I just felt like something in that territory is happening in the script.
I mean, that's fair. I think it works again because I think it's setting you up for, if you don't know what this movie is, I think it's setting you up for what you're expecting. I think it's setting you up for Zodiac or whatever, where you're like, okay, a girl, or Memories of Murder, which we get the tunnel from Memories of Murder in this, which is so exciting. We get, you know, there's a girl is killed. Here is her family. He's gonna hunt down the killer. This is the killer. How is he gonna catch him? How is he gonna get there? And then he gets there like 30-40 minutes into the movie. So if you don't know how long the movie is and if you don't know the setup, you're like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what he's gonna have to catch him. And then when he lets him go, you're like, what are we doing? Yeah. Why did he leave him a wad of money? What?
Yeah.
I think it does play with audience expectations of the genre in an interesting way, and that's why I'm more forgiving for the longer opening sequence. I feel like if it was just set up as it's catch and release torture movie, I don't know if it would work as well. I do like it as a genre subversion in that way.
That makes sense to me.
I like that the use of the like torture and gore in this movie significantly more than almost any other movie from this era that has anything like that. I almost can always point to movies with that level of like torture and gore in it and be like, that's why I don't like this movie. That's like, that stuff too far for me. Don't love it. I had similar comments about Audition and stuff like that. It works so well for me in this, and I think partly because it's informing the characters. And it has like a really strong narrative and character structure to be hung on top of and to accentuate. It doesn't feel like we're doing all this stuff just to get to the violence. And the violence doesn't feel like it's just there to like sit around and shock you. It feels like it's genuinely moving these characters. It is making the one darker and the other more humanized. And then it's commenting on that. And then it's you watch them hurt each other to change each other. And the process of doing that hurts and changes the audience in its reaction to the movie. I really, really, really liked all of that. And this is kind of our first foray into the like police procedural, quote unquote, cop movie formula of the like, you know, true crime.
Interestingly, I don't know if I thought of this just because it's also Korean, and I don't have a huge amount of experience with the Korean horror movies, but I did think about The Wailing, which we covered with Sheree.
I did think about The Wailing a few times too. Yeah,
Nightmare on Fear Street, and that's kind of a cop procedural too, isn't it?
That's true. It is.
It's a police guy. It has that quality to it. But yeah, you're right. Well, interesting. Do you have anything else to say about I Saw the Devil before we move on?
I think it's a lot of fun. I think it is. I mean, it does feel very much, from what I've seen of people that recommended to me, it kind of falls into that quote unquote, like cinema bro category of people who love David Fincher and Christopher Nolan and stuff like that seem to like this movie a lot. And I get that. If you're a fan of it, also reminded me a lot of Brian Fuller's show Hannibal, especially in the relationship between the two leads. So I will say, if you have strong feelings about that show, I would highly recommend searching this movie out. It's streaming right now. It's very easy to access. I think it's a lot of fun. And again, like, Korean stuff is really, really, really popular, and it's so fun to watch Old Boy be vicious in a different way.
Do you know what? I'm going to stand up for our film bros too, because listen, they've taken a lot of shit the past 10 years, and maybe rightfully so, but I maintain that a film bro is the heterosexual male's ultimate form. It is the best kind of heterosexual man that we have. Say, give them a break. They're doing their best. I love them. I'm here for film bros. I see you. I support you. You are loved. And I'm not one of them. I hate that. Like, people, once somebody very famous in the podcasting movies called me a bro. Somebody who didn't know who I was called me a film bro on Twitter. It was like, go watch Fight Club, a movie that I've never seen. And I was like, you've really mischaracterized me here. I'm not a film bro, but fuck you. Anyway, let's play Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. This movie is from South Korea. I have a long fascination with North Korea. Do you think that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has seen this movie? This is somebody who went to boarding school in the West, loves a lot of Western things. This is a Korean movie. I don't know why I'm qualifying with that. So
yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
I was about to say no. I feel like he probably. I feel like he would avoid things like that, but I do feel like if he allowed himself a steady diet of like one South Korean movie a year just to like check in and like see what kind of stuff they're putting out, I feel like he would. I feel like he definitely would have seen JSA, Joint Security Area, by Park Chan-wook, which is from a few years before this, because it comments about the relationship between the two of them, North and South Korea. But I kind of feel like he would watch this. I feel like he would be interested in the setup for this one, how much people talked about how gory and fucked up it was at the time.
Yeah, I don't know how much South Korean media they get in North Korea. I don't have a great understanding of like how much they get from the outside world, how much of that is contraband versus allowed.
But the one person who
anything,
I feel like the one person who has access to that stuff would be him. But there might be such a like, distaste that almost anything like that is, I don't know, but it also from like, this is also not a like one-to-one relationship in any way, shape, or form. I'm just talking about from the nature of like leaders of countries who have like trade stoppage relationships with other countries. Big preface to that. I do know that, like, despite all of that, Adolf Hitler was importing American films during World War II.
Yeah.
So we do know for a fact that he did see the movie where Charlie Chaplin plays him. Like,
I wish I could remember the details of this, but I listened to, I think it was at This American Life years ago about, and I don't think it was Kim Jong-un, I think it was his father. There were two South Korean film stars who got kidnapped in North Korea and forced to star in all of these North Korean movies until they escaped. And it actually inspired the like Avery Jessup.
The 30 Rock.
North Korea.
Yeah.
It's so
kidnapped.
Interesting. I played Avery Jessup's and Kidnapped by Danger, available everywhere on Sega Genesis. I love Jenna Maroney so much.
Starring Cynthia Nixon as her mother.
Exactly.
It all comes right back around.
It all comes back to Cynthia Nixon.
So I am a big fan of Kim Ji-woon. I think he's a really, really, really talented, stylish filmmaker. He has a new movie out called Cobweb, which I really want to see, which is it stars the lead actor from Parasite.
I have no idea what that person's name is.
Who plays essentially a version of Kim Ji-woon. Kang Ho Song from Parasite and Memories of Murder. He plays essentially a version of Kim Ji-woon. directing a movie, and it's all about the crew having to deal with him and be like horrified by him and stuff like that. It looks very interesting.
Uh-huh.
But I love like outrageously stylish filmmakers like that, and filmmakers that are very style forward. I know a lot of them get like people like Edgar Wright and Baz Luhrmann and stuff like that get slagged on for being quote unquote style over substance. But I think a lot of them are like outrageously talented, and a lot of their movies are fucking incredible. One of them I'm thinking of because his classic 90s movie is back in theaters right now, and that's the movie that I love so much called Run Lola Run. And the director is Tom Tykwer, who also co-directed Sense8 and Cloud Atlas with the Wachowskis, and is also a very, very accomplished composer, who I think is an incredible filmmaker who does not get enough respect. Do you think equally stylish and wild filmmaker Tom Tykwer has seen Kim Ji-woon's I Saw the Devil?
100%. I think there's no world that he hasn't. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like he would. I mean, I know the Wachowskis are big fans of Korean movies. I mean, they cast Doona Bae out of The Host to be in Cloud Atlas and Sense8. So I think they're definitely fans of this.
They are,
and I think Tom Tykwer must be as well. I mean, he seems
I don't know.
like...
I qualify by saying I don't know anything about him. I've never seen anything he's made, including Run Lola Run. Even though I did recently
Run Lola Run?
No, even though I think I told you on the show, I did have a dream that took place at the premiere of Run Lola Run recently. A movie I've never seen.
You should see it. It's in theaters right now. Again, it's very, very good.
It came out when I was in high school, I think, and it was like a major moment in indie movies, and I just never saw it.
If you like German techno.
Which I do not, but I might still like that movie very much.
I think it's
stylish enough.
It's a very fun movie. Yeah, I think he's seen it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
This person I adore. She's American, but she's half Korean. She wrote a beautiful book that was very popular in the past couple of years about the death of her Korean mom in Oregon. She is the lead singer of a band called Japanese Breakfast, a wonderful indie rock band. Her name is Michelle Zauner. She wrote Crying in H Mart, which if you haven't read, is brilliant and hilarious and beautiful. Do you think that Japanese Breakfast singer Michelle Zauner has seen I Saw the Devil?
I'm going to say yeah. I feel like it was a big moment when it came out. I feel like, it's been a long time coming for Korean art and film and TV to be like making the big leap into America that it has by now. Obviously, like Squid Game and Parasite and all that stuff has like really been like
K-pop.
Exactly, has been like the big cementing all of that. But it was like starting with Old Boy and then Memories of Murder and then I Saw the Devil and Tale of Two Sisters and stuff like that were like available on Netflix for years. And like when I was in college, everyone watched these movies, and like it was that kind of growing cultural awareness of the stuff that allowed that big pop culture smash to finally happen, like 15, 20 years later. So I definitely think she has seen this movie. I feel like she saw this movie in 2010, 2011, when it was out and about and like immediately available at first and being talked about a lot. I don't know if she loves it or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. She doesn't talk about horror movies in that book at all. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know her taste in that way. I feel like if she is going to be into a Kim Ji-woon movie, it would be Tale of Two Sisters, more so than this one. But I do think she has seen it.
Yeah. She also talks about in that book, her idol is another person I love, who I didn't realize this person was half Korean. Karen Oh from the Yeah.
Yeah, I love Karen Oh.
I think she's seen this and really loves it.
Oh,
she, loves horror movies.
She writes songs about cannibalism.
Yeah.
I think she would love this movie.
I always thought she was just a white girl. I didn't know that she was half Asian.
Yeah.
Until I read that book. Yeah. Makes sense.
So I also mentioned one of the touchstones for this movie is a show that I deeply, deeply love, created by Brian Fuller, which is Hannibal, which is a great, great update on the Thomas Harris book series in such a fun and exciting way. And I should also state that Brian Fuller also made one of my other favorite shows, Pushing Daisies, which I grew up on. And he's such a talented writer. He gets such incredible cast members for his shows. So it's lovely to see like Gillian Anderson in Hannibal and oh God, what's her name from Little Shop of Horrors?
Ellen Green.
Ellen Green, who was in Pushing Daisies, also plays a serial killer on Hannibal and stuff like that. But one of the kind of supporting cast main characters on Hannibal that I deeply, deeply, deeply love and is very, very surprising when you first watch the show is Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall.
Oh, really? He's on Hannibal?
Scott
That's
Thompson
so fun.
is like one of like the main like medical examiner guys that's like on the team.
That's fun.
And he's so good on it. I love Scott Thompson.
Love
the
him.
gay one.
The gay one.
Do you
running faggot, running free? I always love that sketch.
I love his father character from Brain Candy.
Yeah. Love that movie.
Do you think that Scott Thompson has seen I Saw the Devil?
I adore him. I think Kids in the Hall is the best sketch comedy show that has ever been on television. I think not. I don't know. My gut says no. It doesn't seem like he would like this sort of grody of a horror movie. I can imagine him liking something like, I don't know, like Tourist Trap or something like a little bit easier to take and from the 70s or 80s. For some reason, I feel like this is both too new, too foreign, and too violent. But I don't know. I mean, he's also a very smart person who's sophisticated. So maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like it might be too violent for him. That's fair. But I do feel like it's the kind of thing that like maybe going into Hannibal, he was like, let me watch some of the other things that are like this going in. And I could see him watching this one and being like, okay, I don't need to watch anymore. I'm fine. That might be too much. That's okay. But I also like to imagine the world in which the only movies that Scott Thompson watches are Canadian. So if he's going to watch a horror movie, he'll only watch like Black Christmas or he'll only watch The Brood.
When I was in college, I was an usher at the Paramount Theater in Seattle, which is like where touring Broadway shows come to mostly, but also some concerts and stuff. And so the Kids in the Hall live show came and I was working the loge, which is like the fancy balcony for rich people that paid extra. And there was, in my view, in the dark, a lesbian woman drinking a beer, standing up in the loge. And I had to go tell her that she couldn't drink beer there. And then I got there and it was Dave Foley. Mistaken for a middle-aged lesbian woman.
In or out of drag?
Out. It just like it was dark and you know he's a
a very pretty man.
He is very pretty. He has very soft features. So he's like, that's okay. I met in the show. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Mr. Foley.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Foley, star of Monkey Bone. I'm so sorry.
I love the Kids in the Hall though. Do you know who definitely has seen this and loves it is Bruce.
Oh yeah. Bruce McCullough absolutely has. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a giant movie guy. He's a big cinephile. And he pushed a lot of that into the Oh yeah, me too.
I love all 5 kids, but Bruce is my heart. He's the one I crush on. I love a weird little guy famously. And he's the weirdest of them, I think, objectively. And I just love him.
I vividly remember the day that everyone always has their favorite kid of Kids in the Hall, and everyone always has the you have a favorite, and then you also have the one that you crush on, which is separate. And most people just crush on Dave Foley because obviously Dave Foley's like he's the cute one. He looks so good in drag. He was the handsomest one
in the day.
I remember. I think at some point Ivory told me that she was like, actually, I think it's Kevin. I think Kevin McDonald is the hottest, and I was like, That's a hot take.
Wild one. Because he's famously the ugly one.
I mean, the not silly to be one. Mean,
but like he's the one that people, the not sexy one. Because I think a lot of people like Mark think Mark was the hot one. Some people think Dave was the hot one. I think Bruce was the hot one. But yeah.
I think Scott Thompson's the hot one personally, but
I mean they're all hot. Except
they're all
Kevin's
hot.
A little weird looking. That's the truth.
I grew up with Kevin McDonald doing voice roles in like everything because he transitioned into doing that. And so when I first watched Kids in the Hall as a kid, I was like, "Whoa, that's weird. Is that guy?" I love it. I also love that every generation has like their one sketch comedy show that was like around. I'm sure people growing up now, that's I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. Mine was Whitest Kids You Know.
Love Whitest Kids You Know.
which is now why we have Barbarian. So
yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
I
Some
love
people,
that.
it's Mad TV. Mad TV has like a lot of people who loved that show.
Yeah, I know. I grew up watching Mad TV, but it never had the impact on me that Why As Kids You Know or Kids in the Hall or SNL did.
Some of the Mad TV stuff is aged in a very particularly bad way.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Mad TV for me, unfortunately, is closer to the bottom in terms of my preferred sketch comedy shows. Monty Python and the Holy Grail and SCTV are a lot higher than that one. SCTV is maybe the kookiest and zaniest one, and I'm a big fan. So I'm glad we got to end on a light note talking about sketch comedy groups after discussing one of the most foul and fucked up movies we've ever done.
Yeah.
Proud of us.
Thank you. Proud of us too. Thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhaus. Please, rate this wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on X or Instagram at BloodhousePod. Drusilla, where are you lurking these days?
You can find me and my artwork over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's new art up there. I recently did the poster for the new HBO documentary, Slave Play, Not a Movie, a Play, directed by Jeremy O. Harris, based on his Tony Award-nominated play. That's out on HBO this month, and that I'm very, very fortunate to have been able to do that artwork through my agency. There's also new art on there for some films that are out at Tribeca that are worth taking a look at, and the new Criterion release of Bound is out.
Yay!
Go get it, gays! Go get it. And you can also follow me on Letterboxd if you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline. You can go find me, follow me on there, and the insane amount of movies I've been watching lately, and go read all those reviews and get some recommendations. And you can follow me on Instagram at Hyde Sister. What about you, Josh? How's the best way for people to catch you?
At Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Next week, we are returning to a filmmaker that we've talked about before, a filmmaker we both love. We're longtime lovers of this person, and I'm really excited to do this one. What are we watching next week?
We are watching the most recent, as of now, because this new movie isn't out yet, but it's coming, offering from the Canadian goop master himself, David Cronenberg. We will be looking way off into the way forward machine. Is that a thing? With Kristen Stewart and Viggo Mortensen at David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future. Because truly, surgery is the new sex.
I can't wait. It's really a science fiction movie and not a horror movie, but that's okay. What am I, the police? I love
It's really a political movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't wait to talk about that. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.